When I come into the house with Buddy, I always make sure that he waits at the front door calmly and walks through calmly with me. Okay. And of course, we've practiced this, so he knows exactly what to do. See, I'm going to do a little left turn here, come back, close the door. If he walks in front of me, see, I'm just doing a little prompt there to keep him next to me. Everything's very relaxed. Sit. Good. I'm going to have him sit in front of the mat before I send him to the stationing mat. With my right hand, I'm going to pat his chest and say, go. Or you can say, go to your mat if you want. And you can kind of nudge him over with your body if he doesn't go on there all the way. And then step on leash, say down. And now he's down on the mat. The way we do this exercise is you always want to put the leash out like that. So in case he stands up, you can grab the leash and reinforce the downstay. You don't want to drop it all in a pile next to him, so have it hanging out as far as it can so you can grab it. And then you just start walking to different places in the room. Just doing easy things like I'm going to walk over here. I have a visitor here in my house today on the sofa. And it always helps to just have like a realistic situation. Good when you're practicing. If I go somewhere and come back and he stays down there, then I come back with a reward. And this is the Natural Balance lamb sausage, which he loves. And I put it on the mat and I say, good. And once he can handle me walking to different places, like I'm going to walk into the kitchen past the camera person, out of Buddy's sight, I'm going to come back in front of him, as always. Good. Now I'm going to walk behind him and come back from in front with the reward. Good. And now I'm going to go sit on the sofa next to my friend. You want to show me do that? You know, when you sit on the sofa or you sit on a piece of furniture, very often the dog, why don't you show me still, often thinks that's an invitation to get up and come over to you, so it's a good thing to practice. And then when he stays there, go back over. Good. Now if he was to get up, in any of these things that I'm doing, I would say no. And because he knows that no means to just go back to what he was doing before, he would probably just go back. But if he didn't, I would grab the leash and I gently but firmly just bring him back to the mat and reinforce that down. Say, put him back gently but firmly and no reward. And do this again, and he doesn't get a reward until he does it correctly. Now, the only thing that I have to tell you about that is if he makes a mistake, no matter what you're doing, if he makes multiple mistakes, you don't want to go much further because you don't want to create a pattern of multiple mistakes in a row. So let's say that he got up every time I sat down. Well, let's say even after the first mistake, I wouldn't sit all the way down. I'd just walk over here first. And then if he stayed there, I'd go back. Good. I'd break it up into sections, whatever I was doing, until eventually I got back to doing this, and then good. And then going back like this the next time and leaning back, and then going right back. Good. And then leaning back and staying here for 5 to 10 seconds, and then so on and so forth. Just whatever it is that's having him, that he can't handle, where it makes him pop up, he can't handle that distraction, break it up into sections, do it just halfway, get successes as you move closer to the whole, whatever it was you did, the whole thing, so that you can ease him into learning how to do it. But if you do it, practice it over and over again, and he makes mistake after mistake, now you've got the wrong pattern where he just makes mistakes. That's what he does when you do that, so you don't want to have that happen. Also, when you move slower, it's easier for him to handle things. So if you're walking around fast and rewarding him and good like that, and he's popping up, you need to move slower and be calm. Good, like that, so that he can handle it. And later on, once he can handle it and he's desensitized to you going everywhere, then you can do whatever you want because he'll be able to handle it. But at first, sometimes you have to move slower and do a little bit less to get the successes so you can move to the next level of him having the concentration to be able to stay there no matter what you do. So now he's been good no matter what I do in the house. Well, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in this hallway here. There's a doorway right behind the mat, and that's why I put the mat here, because it's really hard for a dog to handle me going in a doorway right behind him and him staying down, also knocking on the door. So if I'm going to do something that's difficult for him to handle, I'm going to remind him down before I do it, just to help him. I'm going to go into this doorway here, close it, knock on the door. Oh, he's still there. Good. He can turn around and look. He just can't. Good. He just can't twist his body around. So that was good. And I think that's everything I can do in the house now. So now we start doing things outside. And of course, it's a big trigger for most dogs to have somebody outside knocking on the door. So we always work on having them be in a calm down stay while that happens. So first I'm going to start just opening the door and stepping out. Show buddy. And then coming back and rewarding him. Good. So he's good with that, so now I'm going to step out and close the door. And come back and reward him. Good. And by the way, if at any time he gets up, like if you're doing this at home, you may open the door and then he's gotten up and come over to the door. All you're going to do is you're going to stay calm. You're going to say no. You're going to take the leash, take him back there, put him back there, step on the leash, put him back, go do it again. No reward until he does it properly. So now I'm going to knock on the door. Oh, very good. So some dogs get triggered good only by the doorbell or the mail slot. So I'm going to do both out here. Down. Actually, there's no mail slot here, but there are windows I can bang on, so I'm going to do that. Knocking, doorbell, and banging on the windows. Very good. Good. So you always want to practice this basics exercise because obviously most dogs can't do this, and Buddy surely couldn't handle this when he first came to me. His whole problem was that he couldn't even have a decent downstay anywhere, much less in the, with distractions happening. So the reason for doing this is that the byproduct of being able to do this is a much more calm, stable dog. And now he has built up this tolerance to stress. Whatever he learns here on the mat in your house can carry over to out in public, because now he'll handle stressful situations out there easier, like you saw with the other dogs. Within 3 minutes of a new dog popping out in front of us, he can be in a downstay and ignoring the dog. So we've gotten a long way in 3 weeks. And if you keep just doing these things, practicing with the video, and that's why the video is so important, so you can see every detail and make sure you do it exactly the way we're doing it here, he's going to get better and better and better, and there's no telling where he'll be in 3 months. You just keep doing this. Even if you do this mat exercise 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, and he'll never go back to his old behaviors. So it's not about doing it for long periods of time. It's about doing it just like you see us doing it here, for short periods of time, but being consistent and doing it every day and doing it the right way. So to take him off the mat, you just pick up the leash, stand back next to him, pat your leg and say, okay.